Have you ever been confused about exactly how respawns work in the Hunter Call of the Wild? Have you ever wondered how to get more diamonds and rares? Well, if you have, you are definitely not alone, but good news, you have come to the right place. Today we're going to be talking about everything from how respawns work all the way to what to do when they do not, so that hopefully by the end of today's video, you will have a better understanding and will be better equipped to spawn more diamonds and rares and understand the game better. Now, I am going to encourage you to stick around for the entire video because it is going to contain a wealth of information, and when you reach the end, drop a keyword right into the comments for your chance to win a 1-month membership to the channel, and let me know in the comments where you are watching from. So when you go onto a map, there will always be animals there. Now, the amount of animals that you actually find on your map directly compare to the amount of need zones that you have discovered. Did you know that if you go around your map and you only discover white-tailed deer, that you will actually have a population on your map disproportionately high for white-tailed deer compared to the other animals? Did you know that? It's very interesting. But you actually want to be discovering as many need zones as you possibly can, because when you discover a need zone, more and more zones will start to pop up on your map and more animals will fill your map. I actually knew a guy I used to game with on Xbox who had so many need zones on his map that his game was laggy and he could barely play it anymore because there were so many animals on his map. That is a true story. Crazy but true. So the only way to remove an animal from your map is to shoot it. The only other way an animal will disappear off your map is if there is an update and that population gets reset. Now, when EW does a reset, what that means is, say they were going to reset whitetail. During that update, what would happen is all the whitetail on your map would vanish and it would be replaced with an entirely new population of whitetail. Now, this doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen from time to time, and it is something we should be aware of. Now, here's another question that I get quite a lot. Do I have to harvest my animal in order to get a respawn? And the answer to that is no, you do not. You should harvest your animal, and I harvest all of my animals. First of all, you're leaving a pile of cash on the table that you definitely want. And second of all, I don't know if you can even spawn great ones without harvesting animals anymore. I know it is a lot harder to do. You definitely can spawn diamonds and rares, but great ones, I think, are a different story. At least that is what I have been hearing from the community. And we are wondering if EW has changed the coding for the great one so that you do have to harvest your kills, because EW likes us to harvest our kills. That is definitely part of IRL hunting. You don't shoot an animal and just leave it. So definitely pick up your animals. Now, when you shoot and harvest an animal, let's do that right now. Got a really nice herd of whitetail here. Okay, we should have got a couple there. Now, when you shoot and harvest an animal, it will likely come back into the same zone, but there is no guarantee. But it will definitely respawn somewhere within the same home range. Now, one thing for sure I can tell you is that males, when shot and harvest, will respawn as males, and females will respawn as females. There we go. We have a level 2 buck. Not too bad. Now, you may have had the experience where you were shooting at a zone, you come back, and you see a female has respawned. That can happen, but all that means is that you probably shot a female at a different zone and it is just spawning into this zone that is in the same home range. So that doesn't prove anything. So let's start off by talking about need zones. So I actually just discovered this zone just a second ago when I spotted these whitetail for the first time. When you discover animals in a need zone, it will attach that need zone to the map. And so, for example, whitetail here drink from 8 until 12. So what that means is these whitetail are attached to this zone. They will show up to this zone at some point between 8 and 12, and they will stay there until 12, at which point they will start traveling and go to their next need zone, which will either be a rest or a feed zone. I'd have to look at their schedule. I don't remember what they do after they drink. I do normally hunt them in their drink zone, but all animals operate on a schedule. So if you do spook an animal out of a need zone, what I would recommend doing is going and setting the time back just just by a few minutes. And because you cannot actually go back in time, what that does is it puts you to that time tomorrow. So that refreshes everything, and anything that is spooked, that will give it a better chance of it coming back into its need zone. Now, the other thing you can do is just leave the game and come back and then go and find the zone, and they should be in their zone waiting for you. Now, if you've ever done a grind for a great one, I would recommend doing one if you haven't, because you will learn just a crazy amount about respawns from doing any great one grind. Anytime you kill animals over and over and over again, basically, when you kill an animal, it's going to come back either a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, but over time, they should get bigger and bigger. And every time you kill an animal, you're going to get a replacement for it. Now, every time you do that, you're leaving it up to chance. And every time you get a respawn, it does have a chance at having a rare fur. Now, different rare furs have different spawn rates for different species, different percentages. So the best thing you can do to give you the greatest chance of spawning rares is just kill as many males as you can over and over and over again. Now, shooting bigger animals will get you better results, and that is where herd management can come into play. We're not going to get into that in today's video, but the bigger the animal, the better as far as respawns go. So if you want to spawn a large rare, you should be shooting large animals and definitely not tiny ones. And there is no need to shoot any females unless you are looking for a female rare or a female diamond. There are a few of them in the game, and that is the reason you don't want to shoot females in your grinds, is you will never get a great one from shooting females, because females respawn as females, and we have no female great ones in the game. So actually shooting females while you are doing a grind will actually damage your grind. What it will do is it will cause your zone to split in half, and it will create another zone somewhere else, pulling deer from your already existing zones, and that is not what you want. It means you have to go and discover the zone again. And one thing I can tell you for sure is that if you don't have all of your zones discovered before doing any great one grind or any grind in general, what will probably happen is you will soon run out of respawns. Let's shoot him. He's pretty. Now, that doesn't mean you need to find every single whitetail zone just to get respawns from shooting a few whitetail. It's when you kill them over and over and over again, eventually they will probably stop respawning until you do find all of your drink zones. And that's just the way the game is set up. I actually, while I was doing my fallow grind in AWAROA, I had been goofing around with my solo zones, and I had killed 3 solos. And anytime you kill the last animal in any need zone, that will delete the zone. Well, that actually includes solo zones as well. If you shoot anything in a solo zone, that zone will vanish, and you will have to re-find it. So what actually happened was I shot 3 solos, I lost 3 zones, and I thought, oh, I'll go look for the zones later. I don't really like to look for zones while I'm live. I just don't find it that exciting for people to watch. And so I continued grinding, and you know what happened? I went to every single zone, and I had absolutely no respawns whatsoever. Everything that I had shot, nothing had come back to replace it. So I did go for a little run. I found 3 zones, went back to start my rotation again, and everything started to respawn, and my zones were full once again. So that just proves that you really do need to find all of your drink zones when you are doing any grind. It is very, very important. And I'm spooking some whitetail. Now, if you're wondering what RNG is, RNG stands for Random Number Generator. Basically, it means luck. Every time we get a respawn, that respawn is a product of RNG. Another whitetail zone. Basically, that means the amount of time it takes, or the amount of kills it takes to spawn a great one, comes down to luck. If you do several grinds, I promise you, some of them will be really, really long, some of them will probably be short, and a lot of them will be right dab smack in the middle, because it really does come down to luck. Now, the game can be really funny with respawns. They sometimes do take their time. Doesn't mean that the animals are not going to respawn, but they do take their time in doing so. So here are some tricks to help you get respawns faster. Actually, why don't we jump over to my fallow grind right after I shoot this beauty right here. Uh-oh, shot right. What? Well, I don't know if the female was in front of it or behind it, but I got the female first. I wasn't trying to shoot her. Oh, it wasn't a female. It just tricked me because it is so tiny. Level 1 and a 235 is a pretty nice buck. Okay. Let's head over to AWAROA right now. Okay, so I just spawned into the tent here in AWAROA where my fallow grind is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to fallow drink time. Now fallow drink from 10 until 1300. Now I like to set the time for the second half of drink time. Sometimes just in the last hour. It can get to be expensive. Right now it is the least amount because it is my first time change. But as we do more and more time changes, that will go up because we do change the time quite frequently when we are doing grinds. Now when I first change it, I have nothing in my zone here. And that happens quite a bit. Now there is a trick you can use. It is expensive, but time is money, baby. So this is called the 1 minute trick. And a quick shout out to Zombie and Tinder Slain for figuring this 1 minute trick out, but you just need to put the time forward by 1 minute and it often will bring your animals into their need zone. Now I only have $1, so they're definitely not all here. It doesn't work every single time, but it does work. I would say it works a good 8 out of 10 times that you try it. I mean, it is a real bum when you do it. You don't get any respawns, you just blew money, but I use it quite a bit and it does help me. Now, the other thing you can do if you don't want to spend money is just simply go to the next zone and just keep rotating your zones until you find deer. So basically, to do any grind, the first thing you want to do is find all of your drink zones. Then you want to take 16 tents, set them up on your best zones. And what I would do is start shooting the mid deer and above. So I have all pretty decent bucks. So pay attention here. We are going to shoot 2 level 3s. We are left with a level 4, I'm gonna leave him, and this guy that goes up to 198, because we're gonna see what respawns, just for the purpose of research. Now, a little trick when you are shooting, when you have one animal that gives you a nice broadside, and then you have another one that's showing you its butt, take the shot, the second deer will turn, giving you enough time to shoot it. He's gonna turn for me anyway, so I can't make my point. Come on. But watch, he'll turn. See? And splat. Okay, we have a silver 164 and another silver 175. Okay, I'm gonna remember that. Okay, once again, I have gone to the next zone and I have no respawns. Don't ask me why. Very annoying, but here comes the 1 minute trick. And as you can see, it is getting more expensive, but it worked. We have deer and now we can continue shooting. And look at that, we have spawned a diamond. So grinds are one of the best ways to spawn lots and lots of diamonds and to get rares. You can definitely go out and search your maps and multiplayer, but grinds are just the best way to do it, the most efficient way. And I would highly recommend not shooting the smaller deer. Stick with the medium to larger deer. You will spawn diamonds a lot faster that way. And we're about to get one right now. Beautiful. Okay, we have a 191 gold, and here is our pretty boy, and he is a 254.29 diamond, so that was a very sweet respawn. But the other thing you can do is just simply leave the game and come back, but you can't be doing that at every single zone. But leaving the map and coming back, I do it after every rotation, because if I don't, I will wait a long time for respawns. So once I have gone to all of my zones, I leave the map and come back, and I will get respawns way faster that way. Okay, and now for research purposes, we are going to shoot 2 really nice level 4s off of this zone and see what comes back, because we have been to a few zones now. We'll see if their respawns come back into the same zone. So this guy's a 217 and a 218, so 2 nice bucks. Okay, so at this point now, I didn't actually go to every single zone, but once I finish grinding this lake, it's usually the end of drink time. So then I would put the time back, and you always want to do that in a tent because it will save you 25% in cost. So usually I will set it to be around 11:30, anywhere between 11:30 and 12 o'clock. And by always having it in the last hour or so of drink time, you just have a greater chance of having animals in their zones. And there's a really nice buck there. Okay, so now we're gonna leave the map and come back. Now I haven't shot this zone here yet. If I did, I probably would not have respawns here. Let's see if anything is respawned without me leaving the map. So now there's actually absolutely nothing here. So they have not come back since being spooked. So we would just have to sit and wait for them to come in, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna leave the map and we're gonna come back. Now you just have to go to the home screen. You don't have to go all the way out of the game. Okay, so as you will recall, we shot 2 level 3s from this zone. We were left with 1 level 3 and 1 level 4. Now we have a level 3 and 3 level 4s. So we got some pretty great respawns. Now I couldn't tell you if the exact respawns went to this zone or if they went out to one of the other zones we shot. Let's go see what has respawned where we shot the diamond. So not all of my respawns are here. I only have 1 buck here. That might be all I get for this rotation, but I am going to do the 1 minute trick just to see if more will come in. Now, if you do a lot of grinds, you're going to end up with a lot of cash, which makes doing the 1 minute trick no big deal. But if you are tight on cash, probably not the best bet. And that actually removed my deer. So it doesn't always work. That does not happen very often. So that's all we got, is just 1 respawn. That's it. Now let's go look where we shot the 2 level 4s and see what respawned over right here. But when you're doing a grind, you'll notice that sometimes you'll go to a particular zone and you'll have 4 bucks. The next time you might have 3, the next time you might have 2, and then you'll have 4 again. So they obviously are not always respawning into the exact same zone. Nothing! The respawns are sometimes driving me crazy. Now, if I were to sit here and wait, they should start to show up within a couple minutes, but sitting and waiting to play a game is not fun. Give me something to shoot. Okay, so look at this. We have 2 level 3s in the zone where we shot 2 level 4s. So I think these are the respawns from the 2 deer we shot in this zone. And we shot 2 4s here, and we got 2 4s to spawn here. So likely the respawns from this zone jumped up and respawned over here. Now I can't prove that. Maybe the 3s came back as 4s and the 4s came back as 3s. That's definitely possible, but there is a lot of mystery surrounding the respawn system. EW is not going to tell us exactly how it works, and I think that's a good thing. We do need some mystery in the game. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, click right here for the beginner playlist.